Hello everybody, this is Marcus. We're back with another video, and today I would like to tell you a little bit about my adventure at the national championships this year. I attended two nationals in Europe where you are able to attend multiple national tournaments, and I ended up in the first place spot at UK Nationals, and you're probably most interested in seeing that team that I used to win the tournament over there. However, before that, I tried to defend my title in Germany, where I won the 2014 National Championships. However, I failed doing so, and in understanding why I chose the exact same team I used at UK Nationals, you probably know about it. It doesn't have a water resistance, it has two ghost types, and yeah, I really never got to explaining any of those, so I'd like to do that in this video. So at first I'll talk a little bit about what happened at German Nationals, and then we'll go over to the team, then my Nationals run in the UK, and some closing thoughts. So this is the team I used at German Nationals. It consists of Mega King Khan, Gengar, Landorus T, Rotom W, Aegislash, and Sylveon. You'll see all the sets and UV spreads I used in the UK a little bit later, though most of them were pretty standard. Back then at least. Nowadays the meta game shifted a little bit. Assault Vest Landorus T is more common than Scarf on high competitive play, as well as some other stuff. But yeah, at the time, the team was I'd say not really meta. I think it was a little bit ahead of the meta, if you want to call it that way, since I was using specific techs like Substitute White Guard, Aegislash, or Safety Goggles on Sylveon. Though Safety Goggles Sylveon never really got that popular. However, I think it's a neat item choice if you need a way to deal with Amoonguss a little bit better. And it was a great counter to the very popular Salamence Sand team that was common during that time. I chose Kangaskhan, Gengar, Landorus T, and Rotom W pretty early in the season, I think. They were all on the first team that I built for VGC 15, and they stayed for me most of the time. I tested out Mega Metagross during February and March, I think. But yeah, I really came back to Kangaskhan, and I don't know, it's just the best Mega, and it really proved that at the World Championships too, so I was happy that I was able to identify that, but I didn't do too well at Worlds, where I also used a modified version of this team. So going into German Nationals, I knew I had the main core consisting of Kangaskhan, Gengar, Landorus T, Rotom W. Then it was either Aegislash or Heatran. In the end I decided to go with Aegislash because I thought that Mega Guardy Trick Room teams that just got popular from Japan could become a thing, and so I was using Substitute and White Guard. And then the last slot had to do several things. For once I needed something to counter Hydreigon. I needed something that doesn't lose to Amoonguss and that is pickable against Rain, because my Rain matchup, okay, with Rotom Wash it was pretty okay, I guess. We'll come to that in a sec, what I did against Rain. But I just wanted some extra insurance, and so I came up with that crazy Safety Goggles Sylveon. But as I said, at first we'll be talking a little bit about German Nationals. The first game I had at the German National Championships was supposed to be broadcasted on the stream that Amigo provided for the event. However, there was a problem with the capture card, so that never really happened. But I started a little bit later than everybody else because we were still trying to figure out whether it was possible to be streamed or not. And I didn't really know my opponent's name, Jonathan Schneider. He seemed to be foreign, and then he said that he never actually played in a Pokemon tournament before. And I was like, a little bit relieved. I was like, okay, good, this is gonna be easy. But then he showed me this team, Hydreigon, Mega Metagross, Politoed, and Terrakion is what he brought, and then he had Ludicolo and Thundurus didn't bring that. A Rain team, so I was like, okay, great. If you know the team I brought to the 2014 National Championships, my rain matchup also heavily relied on being able to outplay my opponent with Kangaskhan and Gengar leads. And yeah, I kind of tried to do the same this year. I didn't really expect rain to be big at Nationals, and yeah, the first thing I ran into is rain team, but okay. I knew how to deal with it, kinda. He timed out turn 1, so made things a little bit easier. He didn't Mega Evolve his Metagross, I think. And yeah, I got to fake out his Hydreigon, which had Protect, and he might have protected, but he didn't because he timed out. I don't know. And then some other stuff happened. In the end, it was Sylveon versus Terrakion, and I was like, yeah, like great, I got this one. But then he flinched me with the Rock Slide, I think 2 times, so it got a little bit closer than it should have. But in the end, I was able to win. So I was really happy with that. Got the first victory, always important in big tournaments, and yeah, moved on to the next round. There I met Johannes Lorenz with another rain team. I was like, okay, did I call the meta wrong? I didn't know these guys though, so I was still like not terrified or anything. But we'll play like in the 6th round I played against, or 7th round I think, I played against a well-known player using a rain team, but we'll come to that in a minute. He went with Politoed and Kingdra leads versus my, I think, either Kangaskhan or Gengar and Rotom W. The first turn, I think I either switched or protected and attacked with Rotom, but then his Politoed went first using Surf, and Absorb Bulb activated on the Kingdom, and I was like, oh my gosh, no. Now he'll Draco Meteor into my Rotom and KO it, and then I'll just lose, but no, he didn't do that. I think he might have Muddy Watered or double surfed something, and then I was able to win pretty convincingly. I think I got a Paralyze with my first Thunderbolt too. That was definitely helpful. So yeah, we got the victory there. I was 2-0, beat 2 rain teams. I didn't really know what to expect from this tournament at this point, but the next opponent I had was actually a girl, Christiane Nourath. She told me before the game that she doesn't really know anything about Pokemon and that she knew me, I think, and I know that she was going to lose, and was like trying to cheer her up and like, we'll see what happens. I think what happened was that turn 1 her Talonflame went for Quick Guard, while I went for Return with my Kangaskhan and Will-O-Wisp with Gengar. I think, I'm not entirely sure what I led that game, but things worked out pretty well and I was able to win that game as well. So I was 3-0, pretty happy. I don't exactly remember how everybody else was doing at that point. I mean, the tournament happened like half a year ago, so forgive me on that, but I was definitely happy. The organization was okay-ish. The rounds took like a little bit to go up and so on, and the first round took a bit, but overall, I don't know. It's what is expected at this point, I guess. So in the 4th round, I played against the first opponent I knew pretty well, Daniel Nolan, also known as Zog. I don't think I ever played him in an official tournament before, so I was definitely looking forward to seeing what he would bring. I know that last year he kind of adapted some parts of my German nationals winning team for UK nationals, so I was expecting him to maybe have a similar team to mine this year as well. However, I was completely caught off guard by this squad right here: Charizard, Thundurus, Aegislash, Suicune, Draken, and Whimsicott. I think I led with Gengar right here, maybe even Gengar and Landorus to deal with a potential beat-up combination between Terrakion and Whimsicott. However, he didn't bring those two. Yeah, the game was pretty straightforward, I think. I made some good plays, and in the end there was a turn where he maybe could have won if he like called my right move and then got lucky, but he timed out on that, so there wasn't really any chance for him to win after that. And yeah, I won this game as well, so I was pretty happy. 4-0, beat the first known player, so I knew that I'd need to go 7-2 at least to make it to the top cut. And yeah, that was still my goal, and starting 4-0 is always nice because you will also have a good tiebreaker. But the thing that hit me when I was 4-0 was that I could still go 4-5 theoretically. So there wasn't really anything won yet, and I knew that I had to continue playing well. The next round was against Florian Henry, whose name I didn't hear before, but when he said he was fluent, which you see, a bell rang in my head. And then in the preview, I saw this team, which is now basically a chalk squad plus Guardy. So for this time, I think like back then, this was a pretty well built and advanced team. Um, yeah, as chalk wasn't a really common thing back then in the Western world. Nobody really knew about it, and so on and so on. But he definitely put a great team together, and I think he would have had definitely a good shot at winning against me. However, I think he missed a heat wave with his heat run against my Gengar, and maybe also against my Aegislash. I'm not entirely sure, but I got a little bit lucky in that game. And then in the end, I was able to have my Aegislash and Gengar stall him a little bit against his Amoonguss and Guardy, and it was on the Trick Room. And then I don't know. In the end, I somehow managed to win. I definitely played very well, and I don't think that I deserve to win this game. But yeah, I mean, at Nationals, you definitely have to take any victory. There, you can't give any presents to anyone. So I was 5-0 at this point. Pretty happy, as I was also continuing my streak at being undefeated at German Nationals for like over 20 something game. I think that was like the 23rd game in a row I won at German Nationals, going 16-0 in 2014, and then also winning my last two games at the 2013 German Nationals. So that was kind of cool. But I definitely didn't want to stop at that, because you could still go 5-4 even after a 5-0 start into a tournament. So my round 6 opponent was Jamie Miller. Not very unknown, I guess, as he got to the top 8 in the UK with the infamous Ditto, and also reached top 4 at the most recent London regional. So his team consisted of Mega Blaziken, Milotic, Thundurus, Ferrothorn, Staraptor, and Mamoswine, and I didn't know what to expect from this at all. However, I saw that my Rotom Wash was doing a pretty fantastic job against most of his team if I just could handle the Ferrothorn. And I think I led Gengar and Rotom and went for a Sludge Bomb and Thunderbolt on his Milotic turn 1 as he protected his Blaziken. And I was like, yeah, like he protects Blaziken, everything is good, and then Sludge Bomb hits and Thunderbolt hits, and then his Milotic uses Mirror Coat to knock out my Rotom. I was like, oh, like, dang it. Now I basically lost my one main win condition. It was definitely foolish of me to let it faint that quickly, but it's what happens. So that was suddenly down 3-4. I think I brought in my Kangaskhan to threaten Fake Out, but then actually went for the return on his Blaziken as he switched into Thundurus or something. I don't really know what happened. However, in the end, I still had to make great plays against his Blaziken, because I didn't really have any way to KO it. And then something that surprised me a little bit was that Flablitz just outright one-hit KO'd my Aegislash in shield form. I didn't really know how much damage it would do, but then I also had like a second plan if it would KO, because with the recoil I could set up a KO later on and so on. So then in the end it came down to whether I would get the moves right with Kangaskhan and Gengar versus his Thundurus and Ferrothorn, and he thought that my Kangaskhan could have Protect because I never used Fake Out against his Blaziken, as I was always predicting the switch out, and then I went for double target on the Thundurus as he doubled into my Gengar, and then in the end Kangaskhan was able to close the game against his Ferrothorn. So that was kind of close. Definitely a cool game, but I was able to win once more in a not so favorable matchup after Rotom was down. So yeah, I was pretty relieved, but I still needed one more victory, and in the 7th round there awaited the first Spanish opponent of the day for me, Poke Alex. As you might know, he, I think, got top 8 in the seniors division 3 times in a row at Worlds, so definitely a very strong player. Age up to the Masters division now, so yeah, I was really looking forward to playing him, because I think I saw him play early on stream or overheard that he was using Rain, and my record against Rain was 2-0 at the day, so I was like, yeah, like I just beat all the Rain teams. And he led with Politoed and Ludicolo, which was what I expected. I led with Kangaskhan and Gengar, and then I was like, yeah, I'm so clever. I got this new tech with Inner Focus Kangaskhan that people, yeah, slept on a little bit, I think. Scrappy was by far the more common choice going into Nationals. So I went with Inner Focus, and then most players would just Fake Out the Kangaskhan and I would fake out the Politoed and then go for a Sludge Bomb with my Gengar on the Ludicolo, and the next turn I could threaten Sucker Punch to take out the Ludicolo and stuff like that. So I thought I had a very good matchup. However, he read into that perfectly and switched out his Ludicolo turn 1, protected his Politoed, I think. And then with Aegislash out, he made some more good plays and caught me a little bit off guard by not bringing Mawile, because after I saw 3 of his Pokemon, I didn't expect him to have the Thunderous T but the Mawile, but he didn't bring his Mega. However, it really paid off for him. I played on for a little bit to check some damage calcs against him, but yeah, he had the game won pretty early, and yeah, very well played, and that was my first loss of the day. So now, of course, things are starting in my head, like, oh, if I miss cut right now, that would be so bad. I started 6-0, so I really wanted to win the next game so that it didn't have to come down to the last game. I played against Christian Schulz, who goes by Anima Online. He's a German player who is definitely like going competitive, but he also likes to have his fun with some unconventional stuff. And for this tournament, he actually brought Venomoth. I wasn't really sure what to expect from this, however, he didn't bring it against me, so I never really found out. He led with Aegislash and Volcarona, and I'm not entirely sure what happened that game, but I think Gengar was doing some work, and then Rotom Wash as well, and I just needed to take out his Hydreigon to win in the end. I think I outsped it with my Kangaskhan and Low Kick, but I'm not entirely sure what happened. Anyway, I won the game, so I was guaranteed to be in top cut. It was a really great feeling. The day had been pretty long, since there's always like a lot of downtime. The pairings, like from time to time, there was like 1 hour breaks between rounds, and you didn't even know, like you never really knew when there was going to be a break or when there was the next round coming up. So yeah, that's just very stressful. However, I managed to go 7-1, so I was very happy. And in the final round, I just wanted to have some fun, I guess. I didn't really care, because I was pretty sure that with my 6-0 start, my tiebreaker would be good enough for me to have a bye in top cut. And yeah, since all 7-2s would advance, I was just, yeah, like, whatever. However, I still tried to win, obviously, versus an Italian competitor, goes by Kiro Online. He had an interesting team with Mega Heracross, actually, and he just led with that as well. I led with Kangaskhan and Gengar, and this game was, like, basically over turn 1. I thought that he would either go for, like, a Quick Guard maybe with his Talonflame, and or a Tailwind or something. So I went with Return on the Talonflame and Will-O-Wisp on the Heracross, predicting the Mega Heracross, and then I was like, yeah, like, it would be so fine. But then he didn't Mega Evolve his Heracross and one-hit KO'd me with Guts boosted Close Combat. He went for the Quick Guard as well, but yeah, that was then the end of my battle against him, I guess. Rotom Wash did some like good things afterwards, I guess, because it had a pretty good matchup against his team, but it wasn't enough in the end and I lost. So I dropped down to a 7-2 record, but that was fine by me. I made it to the round of 32 already, because I was like 20-something seed, I think, and they filled it up with buys to the top 64, so I had a buy that round. However, it got pretty late. We didn't have food the whole day because there was like a soccer game going on right next to the venue, which was actually like right next to the stadium. Through the windows you could see the stadium while there was the game going on. And it was a very important game too, and then the fans who won celebrated a lot, and basically they bought all the food that was around the venue, and all shops, like, nobody had food, like nobody had drinks, anything. But then in the end we found like a bar restaurant that had like burgers and stuff, but it was like a little bit expensive, and you had to order and then sit there and so on, so there wasn't a takeaway, and so I had to wait until it was decided whether I would have a buy or not, because they didn't allow us to go, even though I knew I would have a buy. They wanted to hack check before we went to go eat, and then they made us wait another hour because they weren't able to get the bracket together. So in the end it was like, I don't know, 9 PM or something when we finally got to eat, and then at like 10:30 or something my round of 32 started, and I was like complaining about this and told them to start the round the next day, but they didn't want to because they said they had a strict schedule, which wasn't really true in the end, because we finished at 4 PM the next day and the venue closed at 6 or something. But whatever, they made the decision, and I don't want to make any more excuses about what happened in the next match. Just saying that I was very tired and didn't play very well. My opponent from Italy again had a team of Terrakion, Thunderous T, Charizard, Whimsicott, Scizor, and Cresselia. And my friend Barish Billa already played against him, so I had a little bit of an idea about what I was going to face here. And he told me that his Thunderous T was probably Choice Scarf. Um, so I was like, okay, Choice Scarf, gotta look out for that. In the first game, he brought the Thundurus and Whimsicott as leads, and I led with Gengar and Landorus T. So Gengar and Landorus T versus Whimsicott and Thundurus. So I was like, okay, I definitely have to watch out for a potential Choice Scarf in Power Ice. So I switched out my Landorus T into Kangaskhan, and I don't know what I did with Gengar. Maybe I Sludge Bombed the Whimsicott, I'm not really sure. However, I think maybe I even protected, I'm not sure. However, he went for a Volt Switch into the Landorus T slot, expecting me to switch out. That hit the Kangaskhan, and then he also used Beat Up on his own Terrakion that came in. So he Volt Switched a Ground type and beat up his own Mon. Well, but it worked, I guess. So, yes, I'm not. I didn't know what to say about this at the time. It was also like the first game. Maybe he just expected me to know it was Scarf and to not overpredict, or I don't know. However, I don't want to think about too much what happened right there, but he got that off, and then he was in a pretty decent position, I guess, with that +4 Terrakion, and then he kinda won, I guess. Um, in the second game, however, I was able to crawl back, and in the end, I think I had like Aegislash and Kangaskhan versus 4 of his, but I put myself in a pretty decent position with like I damaged everything, and then I was able to pick up KOs, and it was only then that I realized that if I lose this game, I'm like out of the tournament, even though I had such a great run so far. And then I got my act together, and in the end I was able to win narrowly. And then in the last game, he went with Thundurus and Terrakion leads, and Whimsicott Charizard in the back, and got himself like he got the beat up at some point, I think. And then I had like Gengar and Aegislash, and since I had Substitute and White Guard on Aegislash, I could easily lock down the Terrakion just going for White Guard, and its only attacks moves were like Rock Slide and Close Combat. However, I predicted him to switch out something, or I don't really know. However, I thought I could get a free Substitute with Aegislash if I just protected Gengar and then used Substitute, because there wasn't really anything he could do about it. But yeah, I don't know, I really was tired, and I forgot that I protected with Gengar the turn before, so it was a double protect, which I didn't know until the game said that the protect failed, and then yeah, it went downhill from there. I lost Gengar the next turn, and then yeah, I mean I still had the Aegislash with Wide Guard, but it wasn't enough to stop the Terrakion, as it could just close combat everything. So I lost the game and was out of the tournament, and I didn't really expect to go down the top 32 that easily, so I was kind of upset, I guess. Also very sad because I had put in all this preparation and I did so well in Swiss, and then it just took so long, and we finished at like, I don't know, like 11:30 p.m. or something, like very late, and I was just so tired and starving, and it was just not a very good feeling to anyone who played in the tournament and then really lost when it counted most. I guess they know this feeling, so it was really like depressed and so on. But people cheered me up. I talked to like a lot of friends about the games and about what I could change for UK Nationals, because I already had planned to go there, no matter how well I did. And then I don't know, we had a nice evening that day too. But I wasn't really in the mood of like, I don't know, like drinking or whatever. So yeah, that was German Nationals. Then the next day was still pretty cool, watching the games with others and just hanging around with everybody, which is always like cool at tournaments. But I still was a little bit salty and angry about how I lost. But okay, I mean, I guess if you predict the switch out and go for the wall switch and beat up, you probably deserve to win the game, I guess. So yeah, that was German Nationals, and thanks for watching for the moment, and we'll come to this little team in part 2 of the video, as I decided to split them up because this is already like 20 something minutes and would probably be too long. So see you for the second part in a bit.